Welcome back to another episode, guys. I'm sitting here on my deck in Wisconsin. We're in the middle of December. We still don't have any snow. I'm pretty happy about that. Like, it's actually 47 degrees, which is really very warm for this time of year. I don't remember the last time we didn't have snow for the holiday season, and I'm okay with that. I'm supposed to be picking my boat up tomorrow to be able to drive it home, hopefully with no salt on the roads and just no snow on the ground. Makes me happy. I can get it back to my garage. Hopefully she's all nice and clean and I don't have to worry about getting the road salt off, which has been an issue pretty much every year I've picked up a new boat. So yeah, I'm not complaining. Pretty happy about it. We got 2 months to go before the start of the season. We can get some good fishing videos in, and I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. But in the meantime, what I want to talk about are my 5 most versatile Berkley baits. Berkley is such a giant company that they've got so many different plastic bait models that it can be pretty overwhelming to try to select just one or two. You want to, you look at all their baits and you're like, oh my gosh, I could use every one of these. And where do you begin? So, I try to look for baits that I have more than one use. I truly feel like we got cut off there. So I look for baits that have more than one use. I just feel like it's more economical and you don't have to carry as much tackle in your boat as you would if you've got baits for very specific techniques. So, I hope this is helpful to you. I think it kind of covers the gamut. I know, a couple of these are what you would consider to be pretty technique specific, but there are some other uses that I use them for. So specifically, like the one I'm talking about here, this is the Berkley Flatworm Max Scent. The thing with this bait, I think pretty much anybody in the tournament bass scene has seen, like, that bait dominates the smallmouth world. And for me, it's really a bait I have to have in my boat at all times. It's just this little guy. The reason for that is, one, up here in the North Country, we have smallmouth in most of our lakes, so I find myself almost always having a drop shot rigged up. But this bait also excels on a Ned rig and as a NACO rig. You put a little like tungsten weight in the head, and you will catch so many bass on this across the country, largemouth, spotted, smallmouth, as a NACO rig, or just on a Ned rig even, that it deserves to be in everyone's boat, even if you're not fishing specifically for like deep smallmouth with drop shots. So if you can find them right now, you definitely want to pick up some of the Max Scent flatworms. I want to say there's like a dozen colors. You really can't go wrong with any of those colors. So another bait that you've heard me talk quite a bit about is the Deal. The Deal, I truly believe, is one of the most versatile soft plastics I've had in a long time. And I'll show you why. So it's really just a minnow-shaped bait with 2 finesse-style kickers on the bottom. But you can use this bait for so many different things. Ideally, for me, it's like primarily a swim jig trailer. But it's great as a chatterbait trailer. It's great as a buzzbait trailer. It's great on a spinnerbait. It's great by itself. If you rig this up just with a light tungsten weight and hook it weedless style, you can reel it pretty much right through every type of grass that's out there. And you can throw it on a jig head and use it as a swim bait. It's really a versatile bait. It catches a ton of fish. The motion on it, for me, the key behind it is these legs. they have a very erratic stop and go. They don't always kick perfectly. It'll be like they kick, stop, one kicks, and then they kick up and flare up. You know, so without doing anything with the rod tip, you get a very erratic motion out of the tail, and that triggers a lot of bites. But it's the ideal trailer for pretty much everything. I mean, I really don't know of anything it doesn't work on. It works great on a Carolina rig. It's just a great standalone bait. I mean, it's mimics a shad, but at the same time, it's got the same build as almost like a creature bait in a way. So you can't use this bait wrong. It's, in my opinion, probably the most versatile of all the baits. Next up, I've got the Pitboss. So the Pitboss, I think primarily people like to use this bait as just a flipping and pitching plastic. You know, you hook it, Texas rig it, and it's extremely weedless, comes through wood and goes through grass, and you can punch it great. It's a very compact, streamlined bait with a lot of kicking motion in the legs. Really a great, one of my absolute go-to for flipping and pitching with a Texas rig. But I have found recently that I love to use it for several different things, and more along the trailer scheme again. It's really good on a buzzbait. I throw the Dirty Jigs buzzbait where you can slide the bait up over the cone keeper, the stacked cones that hold the bait on. This bait slides up over that cone keeper really well and stays on, and then you've got kind of a compact strike zone for the fish. I love it. Again, I've used it on a swim jig. I've used it on chatterbaits. These, you know, it's just that streamlined body with some good kicking legs that draw a few extra bites. Lastly, I like throwing this on a jig, like on a football jig to drag around, and even again on as a Carolina rig. It's really good as a standalone bait that you know, doesn't just have to be flipped into a tree. You can throw this out and drag it on a sand flat. I've up north here, I catch a lot of smallmouth throwing it on a shaky head. You know, again, it's not that giant of a bait. Put it on a shaky head and you can catch fish on it that way too. Just a great versatile bait, catches a ton of fish. So the last, or the fourth one I've got for you is one of my favorite worms. It's the Windup Worm. Let me get one out for you without ripping the tail. So the Windup Worm is made to be a worm that you would reel through grass, similar to like a speed worm. It's absolutely dynamite for that. I mean, that's the main purpose of this bait, is to reel through grass. It's killer though as a Carolina rig bait, and it's killer just as a, like, the same places you would throw a plastic worm, like just a ribbon tail worm, which again, people don't use nearly as much as I think that they should, but it's an extremely versatile worm. Up here in the North Country, I've got one lake that's a shallow stump-filled lake, and I just drag this thing around on a Carolina rig, and I mean, it's the best bait I've found out there, and I can cover water quickly with it. So, you know, in a pinch at the same time, if you're looking, you know, for like a swim jig trailer, you can break it off here at like the egg sac portion and just use this back portion as a swim jig trailer or as a chatterbait trailer. So again, it's got other uses to it, and it catches a lot of fish. It catches a lot of big fish. It's not a small bait. I think it's 7 inches long. So it's a decent sized plastic bait. I've won a lot of money on this thing. The last one is the Berkley General Max Scent. Man, this bait is, if you had told me 10 years ago that somebody would find something or make something better than the Senko, I would have probably disagreed with you. But I can tell you at this point, I have gotten rid of every Cinco I own for the Berkley, the General, specifically the Max scent. The Max, there's something to the Max scent that sets these baits apart from other plastic baits. I mean, I've seen way too many cases where literally my bait is sitting on the bottom and a fish is swimming by, like, not by my bait, 15 feet away. And it's like they do a U-turn and just go swim up to it. And I never moved my bait, never did anything. And it's to me, it's like they caught a whiff of the bait and they're like trying to find it. And then eventually they find it. It's not like they make a beeline to it. It's like they get on the scent and then they go searching for it. It's a really, if you ever get the opportunity just to mess around, you know, in a super clear body of water where there's some fish up on a flat, I'm telling you, throw a bait out, power pole down, and just sit there and watch your bait and watch the fish around it. And I swear, when you've got Max scent on, those fish will like do circles around you in the boat until they just get close enough and just hone in right where the bait is. And then they'll eat your bait. You never move it. I mean, put the rod down. Don't even hold the rod. Just put it down and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, you know, I don't think I need to talk about how this style of bait is super useful in lots of different fishing scenarios. But I mean, just to name a few, you know, by itself, either Texas rigged or wacky style, weightless or with weights, you know, they both work great. It's one thing I do like to do with this bait is I like to put it on a punch rig. It gives a punch rig a little different profile, and it goes through the grass perfectly because it's, you know, a straight shot. But I don't see many other people doing that where you have it on a punch rig. But, you know, you can do everything with it. You can Carolina rig with it. You can, you know, you can flip and pitch with it. It's really a versatile bait. You know, the General, in my opinion, is probably the best all-around bait that Berkley has, like just fish catching machine. And it has so many different uses, and you can apply it in so many different techniques that it's one of those baits you just need to have bags of in your boat, and you can, you know, always find a way to rig this to meet the conditions that you're fishing. So, you know, those, I keep several bags of all of these in my boat at all times. I know that because I've got each of these in my boat, I'll be able to fish whatever structure or whatever technique I feel like I need to do without carrying a ton of tackle in my boat. I just got to a point, man, where I felt like I was carrying 300 pounds of tackle in my boat, and, you know, 295 pounds of that was stuff that I just had in my boat for special instances, and I might use once a year. And I've done a good job over the last several years of trying to narrow that down to truly what baits do I find to be the most versatile and work in multiple different situations. And these Berkley baits that I've just mentioned are great baits to have. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. So give them a try. You know, you don't have to buy 20 bags each. Buy one bag, and then you'll find yourself making another order shortly. But at least then you won't have a ton of it in your boat. And I feel comfortable in saying you'll like them all if you haven't tried them yet. So guys, if you found this video useful, let me know. Leave a like, leave a comment if there are things that you want me to talk about, different types of baits or differences in baits, or which baits I use for what techniques. Please leave a comment. Let me know. I enjoy doing this. Right now, it's my winter. This is all I do. I'm downstairs in my tackle room tinkering with tackle anyways, so I might as well shoot a video and let you know what I use the baits that I use for. And like I said, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.